Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Healing Home. I'm your host, Michelle, and today we have an excellent episode in the works for you, in the wings, I should say. We're joined by Katherine O'Shea of Soul Light Pet Services. And I'm really, really excited to have Katherine today for many reasons. But before we get into that, I just want to remind everybody about michelleshealinghome.com. So for all things Healing Home, you can find all of that stuff there. You can find my store and my blog. You can sign up for my newsletter. You can also find my herbal and natural cat care ebook that I just recently released within the last couple months. And that is a great introductory guide for anybody who's wanting to work with herbs and natural remedies for their cat to enhance their life, to make them feel better, to just understand them a little bit more and see how herbs and plants really resonate with animals really, really well, just like they do with humans. But it was a really special journey for Carl and I to have that bond using herbal remedies to help him along the way. Now, so a little bit about Katherine before I bring her in. Katherine is an animal communicator and certified Tao Healing Hands Practitioner, offering, quote, support to many animal companions and their people, end quote. Katherine's ability to connect with people and their pets is something to behold and can bring about profound healing to all involved. And I will say that I can attest to this. And I was first introduced to Katherine by Lindsay Sharman of Rogue Ways. So shout out to Lindsay, because Lindsay was actually having Katherine on her show quite regularly to give pet readings to people that were in the chat. And I was lucky enough to be able to do that. And she gave me a fantastic reading with me and Carl, and it resonated so deeply. And it was like, oh my God, this is so Carl. Like, because I knew Carl obviously so well, and the things that she imparted. And we'll get into more of the details of that too. And we can talk about my total experience. But ever since that point, she's been on my radar. And I also won a animal communication course with her. And that was another awesome experience. And so ever since that time, I've just been watching what she does, and I really appreciate what she does. So that's why I'm bringing her into the Healing Home. So without further ado, help me in welcoming Katherine to the stream. Hello, Katherine.
Hello, Michelle. Hi, everybody. I'm really thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me to come connect with y'all.
Oh yeah, you're so welcome. I've had you on my radar for a Healing Home guest for a while, and for some reason, February's brought up all these animal spirit communication things for me. Bigfoot's in there, so I'm like looking at my list of guests for February. I'm like, oh, interesting, there's a theme here. And so it's all about connecting with animals, nature spirits, understanding that we can connect, we can communicate with our furry friends and the nature spirits out there. And so I'm so happy to have you here. It's really, really, really my pleasure.
Definitely. That's awesome. I'm so happy to be here.
Now, so many people out there probably maybe have heard of you before, but if they haven't, can you introduce yourself and then let people know where they can find you? And if there's anything you want to plug at the beginning of the show here, go for it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. And also hi to your animal companions, sending all of you lots and lots of love. So my name's Katherine. I am an animal communication specialist, and I'm also a Tao Healing Practitioner, which basically means I connect on the heart and soul level and receive information, wisdom, guidance, messages through my spiritual channels from your animal companions. And, I connect a lot to other higher beings and different things as well. But the animal communication is something that's just so strong. And I bet some of you can relate to that, right? It's like you almost know what they're thinking, or you have a very strong intuitive sense. So I use my ability to connect and communicate with animals to receive this information through my spiritual eye, through them borrowing my voice, through having a knowing. And I combine with my tools I have as a Tao Hands practitioner. and Tao Source communicator, and facilitate positive change and shifts for people, bringing in that source frequency and vibration, that positive information. And we know our animal companions are masters at communicating through frequency and vibration, and bringing that positive information in to uplift the vibrational field of whatever the challenge or whatever's coming up to heal, which can be a lot of things. The reason I love the soul level is because it gets right to the root of everything and allows that to be uplifted and nourished. And you really can experience amazing transformation in that way.
Oh, yes. Beautiful intro, by the way. That's very well said. As it should be. It's your work. So that's freaking awesome. And yes, you have like such a lightness to you, like a positivity. And that's one of the other things that I really enjoyed when I first came across your work. Just that you are tapped into this. I feel like it's like a love source, like something going on. And it's really cool. And I think that's probably part of the reason why you're able to tap into the animals so well like you do. It's really cool. So I just love the fact too that in the second half of the show you are going to graciously offer some of the listeners some pet readings if they're wanting to do that. Yeah. So
stick
that was
around.
Yes, stick around. And I'm so glad you suggested it, honestly, because it's a great thing to do. And I didn't want to impose it on you too when I first like invited you on, as I was like, oh, she was so great doing the readings, but I was so glad you did it. And I wanted to allow that space for it to breathe. So thank you. And thank you in advance.
Yeah, well, we both got that message. And, I would say the same sentiments that you just shared to you also. I just love being in your vibrational field. And I remember when we were connecting and doing those readings, the plants also were just so present in all of the beautiful medicine that you bring to humanity and more. So thank
Shucks.
you.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a fun journey so far. So we're just keeping plugging away over here and just
Yep.
keep going. That's the motto. Just keep going. Well, right on. If you're ready, I have some questions for you. And I've been thinking a lot about certain things lately, and that typically is how it goes for me. I'll like have things float into my sphere and then I like ruminate over it and stuff. But one of them is technology and the state of technology. And here we are on the screen, we're communicating. It's beautiful. There are so many awesome ways to use technology and all the things that it offers for people. But I guess when it comes to the animals, I would love to know your thoughts, or if you have had any experiences talking or communicating with animals, and if they've given you any of their opinions on the state of technology. And I guess specifically when I think of that, when I think about an animal or a pet in a home, and I think about how distracting something like social media or the screen can be, do our pets pick up on that? And do they ever feel disappointed or kind of like they're losing touch with their owner? And is there some sort of like divide coming up with this? Or are they more in flow and understanding of it? And that's a long question.
It's such a good question. I've never been asked that question before.
Nice.
I love it. So there's a couple layers to that question. Obviously, it's really beautiful. So I would say, let's see, where do I start? So, well, through doing some readings, I'll just start general and then we'll get a little deeper. I have had animals give me this insight that because they communicate through frequency and vibration, right? This is like how they know everything about everything in the world, and they use their senses too. A lot of people like leave television on for their animals. And I remember one animal in particular told me, like, this stresses me out because of what's being left on the channel. Like if the news comes on or some like not very pleasant TV, which there can be a lot of that just on mainstream television, right? Different things that come on, like they can feel the stress of that actually through. I had someone tell me that they read that animals don't receive frequency through technology. That's not my understanding, but I'm sure that can happen. Some animals are super aware of like screens and like television, like they'll actually sit and watch it. My animals are not as tuned in on that level where they're actually like sitting down and watching it, but I know on a frequency and vibration level. So that's a pro tip. Like if you're going to leave something on for your companions, make sure it's high vibe. Make sure it's, maybe put on a music channel that's like nice, loving music, or sounds of the rain, or and it's funny because sometimes in readings they'll tell us like exactly what they like I like classical music, or I like the sound of waterfalls, or whatever it is. The other thing I notice, like whenever I talk to someone who has a cat, or you see online, like a lot of people, the cats just take over the computer, right? They're just like maybe because it's warm.
Yes.
and and also because they don't want their companions to forget it. They want to be in charge of the interactions that are happening. I know for me, I can also get sucked in, right, to the screens and what's happening, because we are doing a lot of work in this way now, right? Getting the message out there. This is part of it right now. And my little dog, Mr. Ping, will actually come like right up to me and just tell me, like, you know, can you get off of that for a minute and spend some time? Or I can feel that he starts to feel distance, and I'm like, oh, I need to put this down and be just like really present, kind of like a child would, I guess, right? Come up to you. But I think where it comes from with at least my companion, and I know some others that are like this, is like, how they tell you, like, you need to play, you need to go outside, you need to connect to nature, so it is kind of that, like, let me take care of you and get you off your phone. um and yeah, I think also it is something that all the animals, even in nature, all the towers and satellite, everything we have, I definitely feel like that isn't also a part of their world. Like there is some interference. I think there probably can be negative aspects to it. And then, what me and you are doing right now is I'm going to get the animals' messages out there. I'm connecting people to that aspect. So there's also, that's a really, that would be supported, right? um, so yeah, does that answer your question? I kind of lost the question in the middle of my explanation.
No, yeah, that was great. It makes a lot of sense to me, and I like the I like the thought of the cats who like to go onto the keyboard or the laptop or whatever. I've always thought that too. It's like it's warm, but they're also mischievous. They're also curious. There's all sorts of factors that come in, but I could see it kind of being something like a hey. I'm here. I'm right here. I'm like here in the physical room, just like Mr. Ping. It's like he's just like popping up, popping up between you and the screen and reminding us, which is like a blessing in itself. And we do that for them too. If they're too distracted on a corner in the yard where they seem to just be
Right.
fixated or whatever, and it makes them anxious, we can kind of, hey, come back over here. Like you don't need to focus on that so much. So I feel like there's such an ebb and flow with pets and animals and the way that we can, lovingly communicate with them. And I think that we're kind of scales for each other. We like balance the scales. And I think like that's kind of how I've been looking at it too, because the technology, as we're saying, it's like it's a tool and there's so many great things that have come from it, but then there's the distraction, the more dark kind of side of it. But I think
Sure.
just staying the middle, in the middle stream is usually the best place to go. And I think that just being able to remind ourselves too is really important as well. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that answer. I think, yeah, because
Good.
I've just been so wondering about it. And I too think about the EMF and the towers and the thises and the that's. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how is this working with the animals? Even birds and stuff, there's different
Mhm.
patterns that we're seeing in nature now with certain animals and what have you. So anyway, that's really cool that you've kind of like picked up on some of that.
Yeah. Well, that's why this is so important, that we're all in this together. Like, this is why connecting to the animals on this level and communicating with them and being in this, because we're all as much as we can come together and give each other love and receive. I will also say, I think sometimes when your animal companions in your home, um, sign up to teach you something that could also be the cat laying on the keyboard, like patience and like different behaviors can be to actually to help you, even though they're kind of like annoying.
Yes, totally. It's like we're put together for a reason. It's usually to teach each other something, or just like you're talking about.
Yeah,
So when you have these, and I've heard you talk about this on Lindsay's show, but this was years ago. So for people who might be new to this concept,
sure.
when you're starting to communicate with the animals, what does that look like? And then how does it come through for you? If you can
Mm.
kind of explain that to certain people, and then how do you use discernment within this whole system? Because that's also something too that needs to be kind of taken into account as well. And I'm sure you have your own ways of doing this. So I'd love to hear your system for this.
Yeah, so, when I was younger, I just had, like, that connection, that kind of I would just call it, like, an intuitive, like, knowing kind of, you know? I think I was in communication without even really realizing that. It's like, when you see kids at the grocery store and they're, like, spinning around and being in their world. It's just a part of it. Um but when I was in kind of my late 20s, or actually even a little later than that, early 30s, I I kind of got on this path of like spiritual healing and self-healing, and that our bodies have the power to heal themselves, because I went through thyroid cancer and I went through the western side of that, and it left me in a place. I was very called to be on this search for something. And so I'm sharing this to say, when I kind of found these different techniques, and I studied Tao healing, Tao, not the religion, but Tao as like source, oneness. Um, and it really honors all the different, when you really break things down, the wisdom, right? It really does come to that one, those messages that are universal. And so when I started doing that and healing and doing it safely and doing it where I was building my energy and my um, in my body, and I was learning how to do this from a beautiful master teacher, and that allowed these channels to open up, and I actually like studied. Um, not like how you study at university, but really like, just went through the purification and the spiritual study and practice of this for years to really be able to communicate in this way, and using different techniques and different things, and really just doing that deep healing just really brought this ability forward in a powerful way. I will say, I think we all have this connection. I think we're all connected. We all have the ability to receive messages. I have a friend who sees literal signs all over the world. Some people get their messages through songs that come on the radio at the perfect time. Some people, a memory comes flooding into their mind. There's just different ways, right? So I learned a very kind of specific way, but it's also very, just a natural way that we connect. And I liken it to like, have you ever like thought about someone with your heart, and then like you ran into them, or they called you or they texted you? I guess people don't
Totally.
call. I call people still, but
Yeah, I know. Me too.
or you like run into their mom, or you call someone, they're like, I was just thinking about you. Yeah,
Right.
so this is that level that I'm really connecting on, and I refer to it as the soul level, which is the spirit, but it's also in science, it's more like information and message, right? And all of that information is floating around. We're fields of information, like that is what we are. And so yeah, what I do is I always prepare ahead of time, and I kind of have a little bit of a way that I center myself and activate that communication, connection, and field and ability and potential within me, and really ask my guides to help me do it in the highest and purest way and really get my mind out of it, right? Which sometimes I'm guided to pop my mind back in it and look up something or, do that. But really, it can't come from my mind. It just, that's not, the mind can process it, but that's not where it's coming from. So, to really get out of that, and I really had to build my foundational energy. There's lots of ways to do that, in Tai Chi and Qigong, like that's what it's all about, is building that hara or the lower dantian, different ways of naming that energy center in your body so that you're not draining your body and that you're staying connected. I received lots of blessings. I did lots of practice to release lots of blockages from past lives, or maybe times I gave the wrong message at some time, or, different things like that. But really, basically, I connect and I just go into this condition, this connection. And usually what happens is the animals will give me a number. That is what started happening all right away. And usually it's their age.
Interesting.
Yeah. And sometimes they make me dig for it a little bit. Because the soul doesn't know time or space really. So it's oh, okay, he's not 8 years old, he's 10. Okay, when did you adopt him? Oh, when he was 2. Oh, okay, that's where that 8's coming from. Or he was 8 weeks old when you got him, or you've had him for 8 years, or, I get those messages. So I kind of started testing it out, when I was at the park and stuff, if they would give me a number. I always ask permission if I'm doing an actual reading, but sometimes they know you can communicate with them, so they just do. And I would just be like, oh, how old's your dog? And they would say the number, and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That is exact number that I was given. So I started to experience it in a little bit different ways. So they show me things in my spiritual eye. That's like I see an image, or I have a knowing that I wouldn't otherwise know. Sometimes they'll show me their favorite toy or a color they like, or a blanket or a spot, or the woods, and have me this sensation that we're walking through, and they really like going through hikes and stuff. They also like to borrow my mouth and share their message in that way, which is a little more of channeling, I guess. And it's kind of mediumship and spiritual channels, psychic, it's kind of all those things, really. I think when you get to know something, that's really cool, because you're I don't know that. So all of a sudden, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I bet people listening can relate, because I think that is an experience that people have sometimes. How did I know that? And it could be that your soul knows that from its reservoir, or you might be receiving a message from someone else. So the way that I discern is, I check and make sure my head's not being involved, right? My mind's not trying to move the information around, which sometimes happens. It just takes a lot of practice of, just really tuning in. And also, I think if it touches your heart, if you can feel it in your heart, when I'm giving a message to someone else, in the beginning, I was learning, right? So it was all this information would come through, but they weren't resonating with it. And I was like, oh, am I doing this wrong? And actually what I started to learn is, when they have the opportunity to share, they could share stuff that is not relevant yet, or that isn't going to land in that moment, but they're going to share it. And then a week, sometimes as late as a year later, I would get a message oh, I figured this out. This is what that is. Oh,
Yes.
that's what. Yeah. Did you have that experience?
I did. And I'm so glad you went here, because I wanted to bring this up
Cool.
for folks who haven't experienced your readings. So when you read for me and Carl, it was great, resonated so deeply, just like I said in the beginning. And you said something, you were like, for some reason, bumblebees are coming up. Like, I don't know why. He wants me to show you bees and bumblebees. And I was like, huh, okay, interesting, and I just like tucked it in and
Perfect.
whatever. Now, Carl passed away at the end of May in
Aw.
2023. Yeah. And he in like it was probably one of his last days. We were outside and he had a favorite corner of the house in the yard because he could scan his whole kingdom. And there was a bumblebee that just started buzzing around his head. And I'm like, huh, this bee like wants to be with him right now. And he then just started going like this, like he was trying to catch it. And I was like, oh, buddy, don't catch him because he might bite you or whatever. But the bee just would not leave him alone, started flying around him and everything else. And then a couple days after that, he passed away. And then I remembered our reading and I was like, oh my God, it isn't until, and that was like 5 years ago now. And
I
then
was gonna say it was a while ago.
it was a
Yeah.
while ago, and it was like as when it happened, then I thought about it, I'm like, "Wow, so weird," and then I was just thinking about stuff, I'm like, "Oh my god, Katherine O'Shea had brought that up." There was some connection with him and bumblebees that he wanted me to know, and I'm like, "Huh." And then this past summer, the bumblebees were just like off the charts around here. And I had actually dug one up earlier in the spring, while it was still in hibernation, and I found a really nice spot for her and I put her back and I covered her up and everything else. And then I just noticed though over the summer after he had passed, the bumblebees were just everywhere and I felt like I was connecting with them more deeply than I normally do. So just for everybody out there listening, to just like validate what you're saying, that something might come through and it might be so random that you don't know, but there it is right there. It was like, oh my god, wow.
And it's interesting now that I've, am more practiced at that information coming through, I can almost feel that it's not for right now,
Ah,
you know?
interesting.
So,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. The message I was getting just now is that, that was just a messenger for him. And the bees are really significant. Obviously, the bees are very significant, but, to you too. And it was just they're messengers, and they're also messengers between you and him now, and there's like an ancestral connection. There's some actually more significant connection to that. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Because sometimes, I don't really get to know what happens after the reading.
Right.
Some people really reach out to me, and sometimes, so I just say, yeah, if stuff's coming through and you're like, don't waste your energy trying to figure it out in that moment. Just stay connected to what you connect to, but just know that now your soul has received that message. So in 5 years, when you see the bees, you'll go, "Oh." And some people might even say, "Well, like but what does that really mean?" Well, did you feel it? You felt it, I'm sure, in your heart when you saw those bees. I mean,
Yes.
that's it. It's that frequency that was coming. It's that love. It's that connection. It's that, just the synchronicity of it even.
Yeah. Just so cool. So I'm so glad I got to share that with you
Oh,
because
that's so cool.
yeah, I was like
Thank
really
you.
pumped to hopefully get to that because yeah, it was very sweet too because he at that point he was just I'm I'm old, I'm tired, but I'm gonna catch this bee. He was like determined, and it was so nice to watch him. It was just really cool. So it's a very nice memory I have with him for sure. So before we start diving into the readings, I do have one
Sure.
more question that kind of has swum in my mind because of things that I've heard from other people. So there's some people out there that say, during 2020, obviously a lot of people, everything got tossed up in the air and it was all kooky and people were, if they chose to stay in their home, they were stuck in their home and all that stuff. But there were a lot of people that ended up adopting animals during that time. And that was like a big
Yeah.
story that you heard, right?
I was busy. I was very busy.
I bet. Okay, that's awesome. I'm so glad this is like the one question I'm like, yeah, I really want to ask her this. Okay, so I've heard that some people, and if people in the chat can also, chime in if you've had this experience, but I've heard people say that animals that were adopted during 2020 sometimes are prone to more separation anxiety and stuff, or they might need to really like know where their owner is at all times. And they probably got used to their owner being home because maybe they ended up having to work from home and they were at home, for almost a year or something like that. And then all of a sudden, then they started leaving. And so was that confusing to a lot of these animals? And have you tapped into any animals that, had those experiences, and were they able to communicate this with you, that there was like some more anxiety swimming, or what were their thoughts around that time?
So what I'm getting is I can tell you what I know, and then also just this like, messages that are coming through about this right now from my guides is um a few things. So let's start with, if let's say you're probably mostly talking about dogs, right?
Yeah.
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 Um Dogs have an assignment. They have a job. It's different than a cat.
Yes. Yes.
It's very different. And so um their job is they're clear on their job. When you get them, you're home with them, you don't leave, you're there, like that becomes the normal, right? And there is a bit of they're just in that field and that's what they do and this is their job. And so when you switch it up on them and you don't let them know or you don't tell them, or they're also beings on earth, so there is a very earthly 3D aspect to that, where if they're not used to buses and cars and different things, it is going to startle their nervous system, right? Because they're going to be in their fight or flight or anxious. But really giving them a job when you leave the house. This is what I tell, what comes through a lot for people who have anxious animals, and creating that refocus, that calm, that like them knowing what they need to do. And the other piece of that is, who was anxious during 2020? Raise your hand.
Right. It was like a thing. Lots of people were like, what is going on?
Yeah. So you're probably anxious about going back into the world, right? A little bit, or just the collective anxiety was
Yeah.
palatable. Like it was, and uh I'm so glad we're on a different side of that. I think that still happens in a different way for a lot of people. But what I know about dogs is, and cats do this, they do it a little bit differently, but they will take on things from their humans. Um, Anxiety is a big one.
Okay.
Fear. Um, they're doing it as in their unconditional love and service. Really. It's the only way they know, but they are really good at, like, literally taking on the energy of stuff that's creating harm for you. And remember, they're so tuned in. They know the vibration of anxiety. They know what fear feels like, right? They know 'cause they're animals. They're so tuned into that. And, I mean, they know the vibration of illness. They know, all of those things. So, a lot of them actually become anxious from just, like, also taking that on from the people, and also humanity. They're so connected to what's going on beyond your walls as well, right? And that's one thing that I like to help people learn how to do. What I found so helpful is to really help the animals self clear. And there's different things that you can do to help them do that. But it's really important, actually, because what happens when we take on negative information and it is just sitting in our vibrational field? What happens?
It like manifests into disease and sickness and all sorts of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So we want to help them clear what they're
Right.
taking on from us. And this is something that I get really detailed with people when I meet them privately, or if we're doing like a group class. I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before, and there's a couple different things we can do, and lots of different ways to help them to do this. And it's really important because I found when we're healing something with an animal, because this is where the practitioner piece comes in, right? When we're doing the actual transformation of the information, that will manifest into physical health and emotional health and all these things. They really need help to clear that, so that so it doesn't manifest into sickness and different things. This is what the blessings that I can offer really helps with. This is what doing some certain forgiveness practices, and there's certain songs that I recommend listen to that I've noticed are just really amazing for myself and others. Um, oh, so this they're really just taking on that negative information for us as a service. It's really, really, really very unconditional and beautiful. Sometimes, I don't know if anyone's ever known someone who's had an illness and then their pet gets the same illness.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Cancer's common in animals anyways, but often, whenever I meet with someone and they're like, "Oh, my dog has this going on," I was like, "Cool, do you also have that happening?" So this is really where the richness of connecting to the animals and doing this work, because I actually wasn't always as open-hearted to doing this work with the animals. Like, I'm a cancer survivor. I had all these plans about how I was going to take what I'd learned and apply it to help and serve humanity. And then, really it was like, no, you're going to work with the animals. And I was like, okay. And what I've really noticed is, like, when you work with the animal, it is really just the gateway to help heal the human. It's
Oh.
always the mission, always. And that's what's so remarkable. I got off of a session today and this woman was like, "How do we help people understand what's actually going to happen in a session with you?" And I was like, "I don't know." Because
Tell them to trust. Just tell them to trust. That's probably your best advice.
yeah, it's like you think you're gonna get a cute message from your companion or something, and then just like boom, all this amazing these portals open, and all these things occur, and it's pretty profound, really. And yeah, so I guess I don't know if I answered your question or not, but
Yeah, no, you did. That's awesome,
cool.
and I love the tangents we went to as well. And so, I just yeah, I because I'm a person that really thinks that our emotions play a big role in our health. And so our emotions, our experiences, our traumas, the conflicts we have on a daily basis, I look at these things as ways to understand yourself better. And when an ailment pops up, it's like an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to learn what's going on. Like what does this pain in my right side really mean? Like, what does the right side represent versus the left side of my body, and vice versa? And then putting these things all together, and it becomes this really holistic system of healing when you start to do that. And so, doing that for your animals, I mean, that is seriously like next level. And that's why I'm such a proponent with herbs and natural remedies for
Yeah,
pets,
yeah,
because it's seriously such a great healthy option for them. And because they work with frequency like we're talking about, and they pick up on this stuff, that's one of the reasons why I think they resonate with plants so well. And that it tends to work really quickly with animals, and it can do the same with people too. I've seen it in people, I've seen it in myself, where you take something, it's like, whoa, I feel that immediately. And sometimes it takes a month or so, or a couple weeks or whatever. But with the
right.
animals, it's like I've seen it just happen really quickly. And there's like one plant that they resonate with a lot, or if there's a plant that you see or notice them like going to in your garden a lot, think about, maybe they want that plant to come inside. Maybe that'll help them. Maybe you can make them tea with it and put it in their food or put it in their water. Those are the little things too that I like to talk about, as well as just like noticing the patterns of your pets and how
Yeah,
important that is, as I'm sure. And it's like goes along with like story medicine is what I like to call it, because it's understanding your story and then it's understanding your pet story as far as you can, because there's some things that you may never know about them, obviously, but it's tools and people like yourself who can, kind of like shed light on some of the more mysterious parts of a pet's life too, that could really bring in huge moments of clarity for you and your pet.
I love when that comes up in readings when they ask for certain plants or certain
Oh,
things, and sometimes I'm like, "Hold on, I gotta Google that real quick because I don't wanna
make sure.
say,"
Yeah,
because I'm not
totally.
a vet, right? I'm not diagnosing anything, but I'm receiving, powerful information. I'm just the facilitator for that, and, what I remember one time I had this reading with this woman there and her dog, and she was requesting all different kinds of foods, or all different kinds of foods, and then, like, she somehow it linked to, like, what the vitamins that this dog had just gone to the vet and learned was deficient in were in all these foods that he was requesting.
Wow.
And also sometimes they really make requests for plants and different things that you're just like, I don't know," or like orange peel or like whatever it is, and it's like, make sure you look it up and know what you're doing, but like it's really so cool, or color, or
Ah,
yeah, different things like that will come forward like really, really specifically, and I I'm always learning what's going on. And the other thing that I just wanna speak to since you brought it up is like, yeah, it's like your pet's past and your past, and if you resonate with the idea of past lives and reincarnation and all these things, it's also like your connection and your past and what you're here to do and teach and resolve and transmute and heal, and, all those things that we feel, the anxiety, the pain in our arm, we can learn so much about them, but really it's just our vibrational field being like, "Heal this.
right.
Imbalance. This is imbalanced." There's wisdom when we receive the wisdom and when we can release it, right? That's when the like upliftment and that's when the pain can go away and health can reign. And there's just so much that we have access to. And that's why I love what you do. It's because there's just so much. We are the medicine. Like, there's so much we have access to, and our animal companions are this way as well. They're so connected to us, and when you learn about like what the purpose, what your animal's helping you with, and even just the other day, I was doing a communication with one of my dogs, and he was like, I'm here, like, receive my love more. And this comes up a lot actually in a lot of readings, but just receive my love more, and like, I'm actually here to help you find true love partner in this lifetime. So can you like pay attention what I'm trying to help you with?
Hello.
And I was just like, oh, like that's one of his purposes. That's one of his, he even used the word job. He's like, this is my job to take care of you and to help your heart and to heal you and to, open you up to yourself and all these things. So it was really, really beautiful.
Oh, that's so sweet. I think you sent that out in your newsletter just recently, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And, if anyone wants to join my newsletter, I don't bombard people with newsletters, but I'm getting my act together more, sending them out because there's just so much to share and to be with. Actually, also this Saturday, I'm doing an event. I have a few spots open still. That's like just kind of in honor of, the love week with the Valentines and everything, just to connect and receive a message and receive a reading about your animals. Your relationship with your animal companion can be an animal who's passed, an animal who's with you, and even just hearing some of that stuff can be so deeply healing. It's a group event, but it's really low fee, and you just come and you get to hear the messages from all the animals, which is just so profound and beautiful. And we go into a connection. I guide everybody in. We get to hear all the messages and the readings, and it's just really, really, really amazing.
That sounds awesome. How
I
can people
know.
sign up for that, or where do they go to
So,
do that?
so it's on my website. If you go to Soul Light, it's got the two L's, Soul lightpetservices.org. You can click under my services and you'll see that I have that going on Saturday. And then I also have a master class that it's free, that I'm really excited to do on March 2nd. So there on my website, you'll see there's a little tab for the master class, and you can click on that and claim your spot to that as well. It's going to be really cool. It's called, it's an animal communication event, and it's deepening, what is it? 3 keys to unlock a deeper connection and communicate with your animal companion, your animal family. So it's going to be cool.
Awesome. Sweet. And the link for your website is down below, so people can
Cool.
go to your website and access that quickly. That's great. I'm so glad. That's so cool. I think people are becoming more open to a lot of things. I think ever since 2020, I think there was a lot of paradigm shifting that happened for a lot of people. And so I think people are a little bit more open, willing, able to open themselves up to this type of information. So it's really cool. So people like yourselves who have this gift, it's like really cool that you're offering it out to the public. So I think that's great. And with that, I think we could transition into a few readings. Do you think? Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Awesome. All right. So
hi, everybody in the chat.
Yes. What I'm thinking is people in the chat. So let's do like a hand raise sort of thing going on in the chat, and we'll go in order. So if you raise, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, information that's important for me to do a reading would be the name of your animal and the type of animal, because lots of animals have the same name. So we want to make sure we're calling up the right connection. So the name of your animal, what type of animal, species of animal you might have, and then if you want to let me know if they've crossed over, if there's something specific, we're just going to do mini readings. So if it's a big, deep issue, there might be an opportunity to go deeper in a more private way. But yeah, how does that sound? So you can have them do whatever they want, but that's the information I need.
Okay, that's crucial. I should have asked you that first, actually, before I'm worried about.
We're working it out. We're working it out.
Okay, so you guys heard that, and our first hand raise is Melba Toast, Texas Toast. Awesome. All right, so if you want to, here he or she is with Lola. Lola Cantu.
I know Lola. Okay.
Awesome.
So Lola's a dog. Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to ask Lola for a message. So everybody, you can practice being in your own connection as well. So just, think of Lola and Melba, even though you don't know them, that's okay. Or maybe you do. Just send lots and lots of love. And I'm going to take a moment to connect. So if everybody is, those who are able to kind of close their eyes for a minute, that would help. So she's going to use my voice. So this is a really cool thing that happens. So I'm going to connect, and the words that come out will just sound like me, but it will be her message, her frequency. Hello, everyone. I'm so grateful. I need to tell you that it is so important to connect to your animal companions in this way. The wisdom and love we have is pure and here to help you in many ways. Our gratitude for your care runs deep. What I would like to share with beloved Melba is a simple message. You can do it. Don't overthink it. Stay in your heart. Everything you need is on its way. You can do it. How? How means perfect. Oh. So she was showing me there's like a challenge happening, right? There's something that there might be some doubt. And this could probably, this could apply to everyone, could probably benefit from receiving this message. But I bet you Melba knows what Lola is talking about. So Melba, if you feel like commenting on that, you can. But, it's not so much about, what's the word, Michelle? Enduring.
Okay.
It's more for Melba. It's more about discovering. It's like you can do it. Like open up your treasure chest and find all the tools you have, and everything you need is also on its way. Like all this is already happening. So it's really also a message of like Melba says, preach, Lola. Lola is really, really deep and wise. It's like also like let it flow. And I think that aligns with the cosmos and everything that's going on right now on Earth. Yeah. Whew, I just got chills.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one. I'm like starting to tear up over here. I'm like, oh geez. So anyway, yeah.
So, the message came through a little choppy, but if you could feel her love, that's kind of when that the message is true. It's just like receiving it with your heart rather than your head is also takes some practice. But when it's your animal, usually it happens much quicker because you're just so attuned to their frequency and their love. Thanks, Melba. Thanks, Lola. Good job.
That was great.
And
Yeah.
she's showing me a little tiny pink flower like an aster. What's that, Michelle? Do asters have medicinal? Probably.
Yeah, I don't know too much about them. I usually grow them as cut flowers, really. Like the aster flower. So I don't know. I'd have to like look into it.
Yeah,
But
well, maybe Melba, you could look it up if you want to, the little aster flower.
yeah, that's cool that that's coming through.
Yeah, it's really delicate, and also is even though it's such a tiny flower, the presence of it's really strong. Like it's very it holds its shape and it has a very strong aesthetic too for being such a tiny little flower.
And usually the tiny ones, they like pack a punch sort of thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's cool.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Lizzie Jordan is up next. Gracie, who is a golden retriever.
Okay. Hi, Lizzie. All right. So, Lizzie, connect to Gracie with all of your heart. I'm wondering if Gracie is still on the earth or if she's in the soul world. Okay. So, she's showing me the number 8. So, I don't know if that's significant. And then also, she showed me the number 13. So, if those don't hit right away, it's okay. Just kind of, she's living. Okay, perfect. Is she 8? All right. She's also showing me a teddy bear. It sort of looks like a teddy bear. It could be a monkey. And it's kind of like her buddy. So I don't know if she has a toy or something, or maybe it belongs to you, something you loved possibly from your childhood. There's a connection there that she's bringing forward. Oh, she's 2. Okay, perfect. She's telling me, she's kind of whispering in my ear. It's very cute. She's saying, thank you, Lizzie, for, she's calling you mom, friend, all these lovely names for all the love that you've given her and the patience. She says, we just really have a good time together. And this is part of why she's here with you, is to help you. There's something about that connection that's so strong. And I'm hearing you really felt it when you saw her, however that happened, or received her. But was she a gift? I wonder, was she a present for you? Even though, there might have been some resistance there, you felt that connection. Um, she's kind of a goofball is what I'm feeling. And she's here to make you laugh, to bring that joy, that spark, that spunk. And she's also part of your like creative team. So creativity doesn't have to look like painting or something. Creativity actually can be found in anything. So a gift from her sister. See? Awesome. So she's part of this creative team. So, just let her spirit inspire you. And when you have an idea or something that comes to you, something that moves you, even if it seems like, oh, I don't have time for that, or that's actually not what I need to be focusing on, take time to do it and do it with her. It's really amazing some downloads and information you could be receiving if you follow that inspiration and that guidance. She's your team. Like she is your buddy. And she's showing me a little baby boy, so I don't know if she has if you have a baby or if something about that, but she's showing me a little baby boy, like, as her buddy, as her friend. It could just be also a spirit that she's connected to. It feels more like physical world, though. Um, so she really wants to be around children. She's not quite sure how to yet. So you can help her with that. She will listen to you. Um, she tries really hard. She just is so full of love and excitement, and I'm seeing her wiggle her butt. So that's a pretty golden retriever thing, I guess, but I could see her doing. They're like the friendship dog, right? They just carry this message of like, but often they have no idea how big they are or how powerful they are. And so just continue to be, she says you're really patient with her and you understand her heart. So, it's such a supportive relationship. And if she doesn't go to work with you, she'd like to if she can, or there's some like she's really tied into your creative projects, your work, your just everyday life. Okay. That was kind of
Ooh,
long.
I love that one. No, that's
It's
good.
flowing. And she's showing me like a pink, it's kind of pink, it might be red. Um, it looks like a rabbit with ears, but it's like a little toy. So lots of things.
Interesting. Very cool. I like that. All
It's
right.
it's cool to see the responses too. I don't
Yeah,
always get that.
yeah, I'm glad you can see it.
Oh, yeah, so the bear, that's her beaver buddy, huh? Okay, perfect.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, you have such a knack for this. It's so cool. I mean, I just love hearing these messages. It's really great.
Awesome. Oh, and Lizzie, one more thing, like, as you're connected to the angels and the guides, she also has her team, and she's also very connected. So, be in that connection with her. She'll love it.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Tarpio Sag is a message from Sember, dog who's transitioned.
Okay, perfect. Dear one, there. Receive my love and compassion. Rest your head on my belly and soak my fur with your tears. I know at times you miss me dearly, and I know I am with you. And then he's saying, I don't know if you called him gummy bear, but he's like, my little gummy bear. And he was like showing me these gummy bears. Yeah, so just feel his love. He feels your heart. He knows your heart. He's with you. Talk to him. Connect with him. Be with him. Ask his, on the soul level. It doesn't mean like you're asking his soul to leave a dimension, and souls are no time, no space. It's just the connection. It's already there in your heart. So allowing that to nourish you, and still having conversations with him and talking to him and allowing his spirit to guide you. Like, he really wants to actually be on part of your heavens teams, like really guide you. And his soul is like really coming forward to help you do that. It's very significant around this time and also going into the spring. So, if you write a poem about him, just connect with him and in any way that you can. The color purple is a sign from him. So when you see a purple and you feel something in your heart, that's what that is. An orange folder. I don't know. He's showing me an orange folder with something in it that could be significant. Could be yellow. They're funny with colors. It's like one of those folders with pockets in it. There's like a memory or something for you to connect to. So hopefully that resonates. Thank you. Beautiful.
Oh, wow. This is so amazing. And I want to know, one of the questions that now I have, when you're talking with a pet that's transitioned, is there a different feeling that you get? Can you sense something? Does the message come through differently, or is it kind of similar?
Not always. So like, right, with Lizzie's dog, I asked because I could feel that spirit in that kind of way, not in like a sad or bad way, but it just felt really pure. Like, well, she's really young. Well, she's 2, right? Fresh. But no, I don't always know. Sometimes I like people to tell me, because if I set that intention, I could potentially access different information.
Ah, okay.
So it's not necessarily so my brain can try to figure it out, but there is, I have a certain access, right? So, sometimes there's Akashic information, or sometimes there's just different information that I can kind of open up to. I guess it is sort of a like mentally opening. It's just like setting an intention, right?
Right. Yeah. I just kind of
Sometimes I can tell, sometimes I can't. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Right.
she said something about the gummy bear, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. I can throw it back up. Let's see.
Sorry, I'm so excited to hear people's responses.
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. This is important. Describe him as a jelly bean with legs. And I do say Loy go gummy bears. Huh. So yeah, maybe that's what
That's funny.
that's the connection there.
Very sweet. Yeah.
Oh, I love the detail of put your head on my belly and allow your tears to soak into my fur. That is like, oh.
Yeah, that was strong. I could feel that release. So whatever release you're needing right now, like, he wants to take that from you.
Oh, wow.
And he
That's so
wants to
amazing.
serve you in that way, and he can. So it's okay to do that. Yeah. Yeah. When you like have the cathartic cry, it's like, but it doesn't even have to go to the dark depths of that, but he just wants to, like, whatever needs to be released right now, he's ready to soak it up.
That's so nice. All right. Shout out Jenny G. So she would like, I would greatly appreciate any insights from my dog Mango. He and I have moved across the country recently, twice. I'd love to know if he is content living where we are now. That's a great question.
Are you by the ocean?
I can say I know this. The answer is no.
Okay. The reason I asked is because, is Mango a girl or a boy? Do you know?
I don't know, but she's
Okay.
coming through now, so.
Okay. So the reason I asked is because Mango, I can't always tell what gender they are in spirit. Okay, boy. I was just about to say it feels like a girl. A mama's boy, maybe. Because I felt the salt and the breath and the ocean. So I'm wondering, Jenny G, if you're like feeling like you need the ocean or you want to go to the ocean. People in real life think he's a girl, though. Yeah. Yeah, he has that. His soul has femininity about it for sure. And even if that means like bringing the ocean into your experience, for example, just like connecting to that feeling, maybe playing the sounds of the ocean, like it's more about that feeling, that freeness, the negative ions, all the nourishment, and that feels like it's more connected to you and also him. But I wonder if you're feeling the calling to that. He wants to be wherever you are. So that's the simplest answer. Maybe not what you were looking for, but yeah, he's oh, I think I've connected to Mango before. Okay, I know. I understand now. Um, wherever you go, it's important for you to feel supported. You might not have found your spot yet, but it's okay. Really, his spot is with you. He's not uncomfortable where he is. He says the sounds at night are kind of interesting. Yeah, and just being in nature would be good for him. So maybe can spend some time in nature. Do you feel like you're less stressed in your environment now? No, that's the feeling he's giving me. Oh, gained 3 new pet family members. Okay, that's why you're asking. I wasn't getting that. He was not having me focus on that at all. So, uh, is it what kind of animals are they? Is there a cat involved? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Less stressed. Yeah. They're all figuring it out. The cat is quite sweet, actually, but there's just a kinda like, okay, 2 cats. I thought there was more than 1, but it's hard to tell with cats. They have such big energy sometimes. Um, okay. Let me tune in better. How dearest my beloved, I'm okay. I'm happy with you, and I like making friends. It's an adjustment for now, but this is what we do. We go on the adventure, and we love everybody along the way. Wow. Oh. So I don't know if you just started studying something or school or something a little more mind engaging, but he wants to support you in that too. He's just bringing the importance to like finding that balance. Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Jenny G. I hope that was helpful.
I bet it
What?
was.
Yeah. I'm hearing the cats are doing good too. One of them might be a little like not quite sure, but it's all good. Yeah.
I love this. All right.
Yeah.
Are you on board for another?
Sure.
All right. We got, let's see. Okay, if it pops up. My internet's kind of slow, so there's a delay. Bella, female cat, passed away several years ago.
Oh, sweet Bella. Okay. She's like, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Oh, she says, thank you for such a beautiful life together. there's a sweetness in your connection. It's like nectar. It's just yummy and beautiful and sweet. And she wants you to like kind of taste that, for lack of a better. She wants you to taste it. I know Jamie's a foodie. Taste that honey, that sweetness of your connection with Bella. She's learning a lot. You really honored her wishes, is what she's telling me. And she's really, really grateful. It did have a positive effect on her transitioning into the soul world. And she says she was met with flowers and loved ones and guides and a lot of peace. And even though it was several years ago, I think it's always good to hear that message. It can be so healing, you know? And she like still hears your laugh. And it makes her happy. And so, Jamie, when you see dragonflies, that's a sign from her. And if you just smell something sweet out of nowhere, have you ever smelled something out of nowhere, Michelle? Just like, yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of wild.
And you're like, where?
Yeah.
It's a message, right? It's a message. So that's kind of her message to you.
Aw.
Yeah. And when you hum, if you just find yourself humming, like she's connected to that as well. It's so sweet. Aw, love you, Bella.
Very nice.
And she's showing me that, I don't know if you've been visited by a deer lately, but she's showing me this encounter. Maybe it hasn't happened yet. I don't know. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah. Stop making me cry.
I know, it's like I'm like over here going.
It's when I'm in session with people and they're like, I'm so sorry I'm crying. I was like, it's just everybody cries. It's, it took me years to not cry when I was doing a reading. And it's just because I can feel all of it, a lot of times I can feel it really deeply. It's just because it's literally channeling through, right? So,
right.
And I had this one woman be like, I worked with her for a while and she's just like, I never cry. I was like, you cry every time you talk to me. I'm sorry. It must be me. I'm so sorry. It's just the love of our animals. That's really what it is, right?
Oh, totally. And it's a deep love. I mean, we connect with them on so many different levels. I think that there's people out there, and I can even say this for myself, that I felt like I connected better with Carl than I did with many people out there. You know what I mean? There's like, and we're not all supposed to get along. That's my opinion, So there's people that you resonate with, and then there's people that you're like, okay, that's cool, but like we don't vibe. That's all right. But when it comes to the animals, I don't know. I've felt I had way more significant, like even just conversations with Carl than I have with certain people in my life, throughout my life. So it's a thing, and it's no wonder why. I mean, there's these pets, I've never even met any of them, and I'm like welling up with tears. It's just to hear the unconditional love that you feel from a pet. And I think like when we're getting these messages and when you're relaying them, that's what I'm feeling within all of them, is just they have such loyalty, most all of them do, to their people. And it's really cool. You can feel it when you're talking about this stuff.
Well, and that's the thing, is when the messages come through, they're coming through in a way where they're carrying that love, that connection. And so that's what that's what you feel. And it's really interesting, because have you ever met someone where you just like fell in love with them instantly and you're like, wait, what's your last name? But I feel like I've known you forever.
Yes.
And I realized through doing this that like a lot of people have that with their companions. Like they weren't even planning on getting a dog, and they saw this dog somehow, and they were like, I can't not have that being in my life. We are all connected in that way. And then the other way too, sometimes you see someone and you're like, I don't know, I just can't, like that creeps me out, or I have no reason to think that about that person, but I feel that. And if, you believe in reincarnation and stuff, I mean, often you've had lifetimes with your animal companions, like very close relationships. That's why you come together in this life. This is a really important time.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. One of the jokes that
what
was that?
The animals know, and they're on their journey too.
Oh, totally. Yeah, there's so much shifting happening, and I mean, we could get into the whole astrology, it's astrologically speaking, lots of people are talking about it. We are going through a very significant time. We're in a very interesting time. Aw, hello, Mr. Ping. Yes. Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, well, it might come back.
Sorry.
But
you were saying it's a running joke or something.
I don't remember. It's okay. Just the time we're in is very the running joke. Yes. Okay. The running joke my fiance has with me is that Mario, his name's Mario, that Mario and him and I got together so that I could actually meet Carl, because Carl was his cat, and then we started dating, and it was just like this instant, oh my God, where has this cat been all my life kind of thing. And he's like, I swear you and I got together so that you and Carl could be together. Like he was like the bridge or something. And I would assume that happens with a lot of people, that they just know that there's like some kind of connection going on there, and they're meant to be, but it was through someone else. So that's a beautiful thing, I think. All right. Ready for another?
Sure.
All right. Lisa Marks. So she says, I have a new puppy, Luna, and my 3 cats don't like or tolerate her.
Yeah, it's her energy, really, is what it is. Yeah, she's a puppy. That's what I was getting right away. I don't think it's as deep as we might guess. Yeah, they don't feel secure. Like, it's hard to describe. It's not like they think they're going to get hurt, but, cats have the nature of a cat is different, right? So some cats, they feel a little sort of threatened, not in like a violent way, but there's just a little bit of a threat and an insecurity. So Lisa, I would do some communication with your cats and give them lots of love and ask them what they need. I would do some forgiveness prayers between the cats and the dog. And I would explain to your cats and also to sweet Luna where the potential for harmony is, like why you're all together, because I know in your heart. Lisa's actually a beautiful animal communicator and really, really has a deep connection to animals. I met her in one of the courses we did, and it's really beautiful. So Lisa, tap into that power that you have. And if you can spend some time and maybe let the cats have the run at certain times, that would help them. Sometimes they just need a break, and they, they're kind of like, this is our house. And this is a new energy for them. I'm getting that actually some pheromones might help them. Do you know naturally about that, Michelle? Do you have any recommendations?
That's a good question. I don't know about natural ones. I feel like I should know, but that's a really great thing to pull at.
I was being shown something that looked like lavender, but I feel like lavender is not safe for cats, is it?
Yeah, you can use it. You can use it like topically sometimes, like if you're gonna do like flea treatments and stuff like that. Like
Oh, yeah,
typically
okay,
I would like
okay.
grind up the flowers and make it into like a powder,
Yeah,
you
okay.
know?
And also, if you have a mirror in your house, I'm hearing it needs to be moved to, like, the northwest side. I don't know, that's just the message I'm getting. Yeah, there's some moving around the energy, so if you've had the calling to, like, move around some furniture and do some things or clear out some things, that will also help ground everything. There's kind of a lot bouncing around everywhere is what I'm getting. I hope that helps. And Luna loves you, and she's very, very happy to be with you, and she says she's being the best she can be.
Yeah, that puppy energy, it's definitely palpable, so I'm sure that has a lot to do with it too. I love the detail of the mirror. That's really interesting.
I don't know, is there any feng shui people out there? Maybe you could give us some insight.
That's super cool.
And also, if you have a house, I'm hearing. Yeah. I'm not sure what that means.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah. Grounding in. Call on the ancestors of the land to help support your cats too, is the other message I'm getting. That earth. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I think we have if you're down, I think we have time for one more if you
Okay.
want to. All right, cryptid. What's up?
She can't move the mirror. Okay, so I'm hearing
Oh,
put some plant life around it or something. Can you? Yeah. I don't know. That's just the message I got right away when I read that. Okay.
that's cool. Oh my god. That's a good one. And that would be a good trade-off with plants, I bet. Maybe I think like mirrors with cats specifically, it's like a portal. And I just know like Carl would have full sessions at a mirror and I'm like, "Oh, dude is tapping in right now." So,
And also at night, maybe you could cover it. I don't know if it's fixed, if you're able to cover it or something. Yeah, that makes sense. It, it's just, yeah, it's not as grounding. Something about the mirror. Yeah. What's up with cats and mirrors? I don't know.
very interesting. All right, last question or last reading we're going to do. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Thank you Katherine for doing this. This is awesome. So, he says or he or she. Hi, I was wondering about our cat family who passed over the past few years. Cat family. Is
So I either need to know your name. I need to know who I'm trying to connect with.
so cryptid if you're
So
still out there.
maybe a cat, some of the cat's names if they had names, or your initials or something for me to. So
Okay,
I think.
her name is Ashley, but so Ashley, what do you have a specific cat
Is
name
it
or
is it a gray cat and a orange cat?
so are
Sydney,
those
Patrick, and Mikey. Oh, okay.
all right.
We got it. Thanks. Thanks for thanks for playing along. So Patrick's coming through first, and I just feel yeah, I can feel just the depth of this spiritual being. So he's kind of had me experience him going into the spiritual realm, which is interesting. It was calm and peaceful in the moment. that's just an important message for you to hear. I don't know if it was physically not like that, but on the soul level, there became the moment of peace. And he's quite wise and very spiritual. I would say, like a higher level being on the soul level for sure. And he said he was in charge, but nobody thought he was in charge. Yeah, he's very spiritual. He is actually, that's the way that he was in charge. He was like this how sometimes families have like the spiritual leader? Yeah, so that's like kind of how he was in that cat family. I was also hearing Charlie, so I don't know if you had a Charlie also, but Charlie actually came before Patrick, or if someone else has a Charlie. That's why getting specific with names is a good idea. And he's showing me a 4-leaf clover. Oh, you know a Charlie cat. Okay. Were they friends, I wonder? Oh, well, maybe you can visit Charlie. There's a connection there between, even if it's not physical, it's on the soul level, between Patrick and Charlie. Charlie's a good cat. He says he's a sweet cat. He's a young soul. I'm looking for the other names. Okay. One was Gray, Sydney, and one was okay. That's who I saw come forward. So they knew who they were connected to. So I just see lots of flowers around Sydney. And she's showing me the number 3. And she's showing me that she was kind of a food sneak. She's very clever, a little sneaky, not in a bad way, not in like a mean, sneaky way, but just that's the word she's using. Like, I don't know if you called her a sneak or not, a sneaker. And so pretty, yeah. And she wants to thank you for her kindness, your kindness and patience. And the move didn't like create any issues for them. That's a message for you. If you were wondering that. Could be a relocation, could be maybe just like you switched things up in some way. Yeah, she was gorgeous. Yeah, I could see, and she told me she wasn't being braggy about it. She's just like, I'm really, really pretty. Oh, Phoenix to Portland. Okay, yeah. So if you are holding on to any guilt or any heaviness in your heart about the move having anything to do with anything or stressful, it was okay. Yeah, especially for her. She quite liked it, actually. And what was the last name?
Mikey.
I just saw him jump like. I wonder if he was black and white. That's what he showed me, with a little mark on his nose. He was a little misunderstood, but he was okay with it.
Oh, maybe it was Mickey.
Oh, Mickey.
Yeah, sorry, I misspoke on that one.
Oh, okay. Oh, he was a tuxedo. Wow, I don't always get visuals like that so clear. Thank you, everyone, for bringing your spiritual magic to this show. Yeah, that's crazy that I saw.
That's the second color. You got the gray one with Sydney, and then
the orange.
tuxedo.
You said there was an orange also.
And the orange, yes.
Yeah, so crazy.
Damn.
No, Mikey.
Oh, he is Mikey. Okay.
So he was, I don't know if you referred to him as the young soul, the kind of like the little brother, of the orange was Gingy. Okay. All right. Lots of cats. So his message to you is he's okay. He learned what he needed to learn. He's happy for your new beginnings. So I don't know if you just got like engaged or had a baby, some like new change in life, union of some sort, or in a relationship, or had a baby, or whatever it is, or maybe that's coming. He's aware of it. He's happy for you, and I'm hearing him sing. So he loved when you sing to him, and I just heard, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine." So that's a message for you. All right, that was a lot. My heart is swelling with this. Yeah, so he's saying, "Oh yeah, okay." Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's great. Wow. Well, Katherine, this was awesome. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
doing this.
everyone. Yeah, and if you didn't get a message, or you want to hear more, I do have that event on Saturday, and then also March 2nd. I have 20 spots for Saturday total, and I think some of them are taken already. Just because we're doing readings for everybody, and we're just not going to make it last forever. But also, if you're interested in learning more about communication and experiencing it, and being more face to face with me, come to my masterclass. It's going to be really, 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 really amazing. I'll give you some tips, some practical things.
Awesome. And you also have a Facebook group as well, correct?
I do have a Facebook group. It is called the Animal Companion Connection Hub. So it's really cool because it's a whole community of people who just want to connect with their animals.
Sweet.
And I do readings in there. I share practices and different ways to help our animals with anxiety, with health. We deep dive into forgiveness, and just also sharing things about our animal companions, and just being in that community. It's really cool.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. And then, I mean, as we all know, we all have, interests that really spark us. And when you're in a group of people who all are interested in something, the potency of that is so strong. And that's when things really come through. Just like you were saying, there was a lot of stuff vibing through on this episode. And I think it's probably because a lot of the people who are listening are wanting the messages too, or they're resonating with it, and this and that. And that just like brings the vibration up, and it makes everything so powerful. So that's really amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I have a YouTube channel as well. And I do share things on there too. And I have lots of archived stuff that's cool too.
Yeah, and your newsletter, people can sign up for your newsletter too. So,
and if you want a one-on-one deep dive, I mean, these were just little messages, and how amazing, how deeply did you feel that? And I say that not about me, but just because the messages, they're so healing. So, if there's something you really want to focus on, healing within yourself, or also with your companion, behavior, physical stuff too, if they have a physical illness, or just like something that they just come with those things sometimes, right? It's stuff that's manifested. All of those things can be supported through this work.
yeah, I feel that so much, and that is the real deal right there. So, man.
It is.
Well, thank you again. Yes, and then Deb D is reminding us that you're on One Day of Brightness with Lindsay as well.
Yep, we're going to do that. Springtime's coming around, man.
Yeah, super fast. So I'm ready for it. That's for sure. Well, Catherine, if unless there's anything else you'd want to impart on people, I think this was a really great interview, and I look forward to the next one because I think that we'd be able to throw down again if you're open to it. And when and whenever you have
Yeah.
something new you want to promote to, or what have you, if you're excited about something, I'd love to have host you again because this was wonderful. And
Aw.
as we said in the beginning, I really enjoy your energy, and you actually too. I mean, you have a really great way of explaining all this stuff too, and making it easy kind of to understand because there's a softness. So it's appreciated. I really enjoyed our talk.
Well, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much. I guess I would just like for us all to kind of take a moment to just like honor the animals who we're connected to and those animals who came through and did a really good job of offering their messages. So just take a moment and collectively just send lots of love and light. And I'm just really, really grateful. This is a really sacred part of my life I never knew I would get to have. And anytime I get to receive those messages and share them, it's just really, really special. So thank you for giving me the platform. I realize like people are actually looking for this and they don't know that they're looking for it, or they are looking for it. And so, my goal this year is to just really make myself visible so that people can receive and the animals can receive what they need to receive, and really have their love be felt and their message be heard. And it's just so transformative, and we just need it.
Yep. Here. I wholeheartedly agree. So keep up the good work, my lady. It's awesome. I wish you all the best as you continue to move forward and blaze the trail on all this stuff. So thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
All right. Have a great night, Catherine.
Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks everyone for being here and sticking around, asking questions, getting connecting with your pets. That was a really lovely chat, and I'm glad I also got to ask Catherine some of the questions that I had, because I always am thinking about pets with what's the state of the world, what's going on right now and everything else, and how they feel about things. And I think just like us, we adjust to new technologies, we adjust to new ways. So in their own ways, I'm sure they're doing that, but I'm always curious, like, what does that look like for a pet who's like, man, my owner's on the phone all day, or they're playing video games 12 hours a day. Like, what does that look like for them? What do they think? Do they understand it? Or is it something that causes more stress? So that was a really good one. So if you missed the first half of our chat, head back and you can listen to that, some of the questions, and hear more about Catherine's story, how she got to be where she is today. So it was a really nice one. And for anyone who would like to stick around, I do have some updates for you guys. So as always, I'm going to pop up my slides here on the screen. All right. And maybe some of you noticed, but I got a standing desk, and it's seriously so amazing. Mario bought it for me for Christmas, or my birthday, sorry, which is close to Christmas, I guess. But oh my God, I'm like, I feel so much better standing while I'm doing the interview. So anyway, I don't know if you can tell in the video frame if it looks different or not, like where my angle is. But anyway, it's really awesome. So michelleshealinghome.com for all things healing home. As I said in the beginning, you can go to my website, sign up for my newsletter, you can book consultations, you can check out my store, check out what's going on with the healing home, look at the blog, all the things. And also the herbal and natural cat care ebook is also available on my store as well. Thank you to all the patrons out there. You guys are freaking awesome, showing all your support. Chance, Jenny G, Liam, Miri and Hank. We've got Sarah G, Erica, Moonlander, Mary, Louie, Logan, Mickey, Doreen, Debbie, Natasha, Mary Beth, Nausicaa, Stephanie, Charlei, Peter, Elise and James, Rachel, Trisha, and Vanessa. Thank you guys all so much. It's just really glorious to be able to connect with you guys in another way on Patreon. So if you're interested in that, patreon.com/the healing home, you can head over there. You also don't have to be a paid member. If you just feel like following me on Patreon, you can also just sign up there as well. And as I said, here is the handbook for herbal and natural cat care, which is a downloadable PDF. It's $11. Super great introductory guide for people who are wanting to just get into herbal and natural cat care. And, I share a lot of my experience with Carl. And so people have probably heard me speak about this, but Carl had some chronic lung issues that he dealt with for most of his life, especially later years. And I was always just so determined to not put him on the steroidal medication that an allopathic vet would have given him if if we would have gone that route, because that's typically cats who have the upper respiratory issues like that. If it's chronic and they have like lots of mucus and boggy coughs and stuff like that, most of the time those cats are put on steroids, and a lot of times the steroids will really deteriorate their health, and they're really usually never the same after that. So that was the last thing I wanted to do for Carl. So I was able to, come up with, using my herbal knowledge and my experience with herbs, I was able to come up with a lot of concoctions for him. He had teas and infusions that he had on a decently regular basis, tinctures, certain supplements. So I share all of that in the handbook. So if you want to learn more about that stuff, you can find that on my website. Full Moon Offering newsletter number 41 is where we're currently still at. And I am sold out of my magnesium cream, but I still have, I think, about 4 bars of my hemp and honey soap left. So get your hands on some of that if you'd like. And you can do that, like I said, on the store. Up on the screen, you'll see my current menu. The only thing that's changed is the Dreamtime smokes are now currently sold out. And actually, when we created the menu this afternoon, they weren't sold out, but then they sold out in between having the show and putting the slides together. So no more Dreamtime smokes right now. And I'll probably be able to do one more batch of them coming up here, because people really love them. I love them. I love rolling them. So they went really fast. I just put them back up on the store this weekend and they sold out already. So that is the deal with those. I also have some blue vervain tincture that is from the batch of blue vervain or from the garden 2023 garden, just this past growing season. I grew a lot of blue vervain because it's one of my ally plants that really helps me a lot. It's kind of a companion plant for me. So I've got some nice fresh blue vervain tincture that is ready for people. Next issue of the Full Moon Offering newsletter comes out this month on the 24th. So look for that. And I'll have some new remedies for everybody. Next week, we have Pacific Northwest Bigfoot Adventures with my friend Ashley Stinnett. Now, Ashley is pretty freaking awesome. And I met Ashley a handful of years ago through our friend Christy. And Ashley is an avid Bigfoot lover. She was featured in a documentary recently about Bigfoot as well. And one of the cool things about her is she's hooked up with a group of people out here in the Pacific Northwest who go out on camping trips intentionally to connect with Bigfoot. And she has some really, really cool stories that she's imparted on us over the years. And I really, really wanted to bring her into the Healing Home. So I'm glad to be able to do that. And that will be next week on the 20th, Tuesday, the 20th. And it's going to be a special time. It's going to be 1 p.m. PST. So for that one. Oh my God, Ashley, you're crypto cryptid? What? Oh, well, hello. That's so funny. Okay, awesome. Well, she's right here right now. So next week at 1 p.m., me and Ashley are going to be throwing down. I'm so sorry that I didn't know that you were crypto cryptid. Well, now I know. So thanks for letting me know. And now I'll know next time. So anyway, okay, cool. Well, Ashley, thank you for being here tonight. And I'm glad you got some messages as well with Kathrine. She's awesome. So looking forward to our chat tomorrow or next week. So you guys come back. Yes. Sorry, the internet, what do they call them? Avatars or whatever it is. The handles sometimes get confusing. So anyway, all right. Ashley's here in the house. She will be back here in the house next week at 1 p.m. So come and hang out with us. symbolicstudies.com for all things Mario. If you're interested in figuring out what Mario has going on, he is cooking up some really awesome stuff. I'm so excited for him right now because I feel like he cracked the code with symbolic studies, and he's going to be putting out some really, really cool offerings coming up here in a little while. So I'm not saying anything what it is, but I'm just going to say that I'm pumped for him and he's pumped. And I think you all are going to be pumped if you love Mario and the things that he's doing. So check him out at Symbolic Studies and keep an eye on Instagram and all the other places in the upcoming weeks, because he's going to be launching something brand new and it's going to be really freaking awesome. And I can't wait. And with that, I think that's going to do it, folks. Thank you all so very much for hanging out tonight. Very excited. As always, thanks for coming into the Healing Home. I'm happy to be your host, and I'm just really, really excited about the podcast, where it's going, the opportunities that are coming from it, the challenges that come up with it, the lessons I'm learning, the motivation I have with it, and the motivation that is bleeding over into other aspects of my life and my business through doing this podcast and talking about the animal communication. As you guys, if anyone tuned in last week, we had Cara Daniels of Deep Root Connections on, and she herself is an amazing animal communicator as well. But we talked more about like tree communication, nature spirit communication, land, tapping into the land and stuff like that. So it was like different, but the same vein. And I guess that's what I was getting at the beginning of the episode, that I realized with February, there's a lot of nature, spirit, animal communication, astral realm stuff going on in February. So it's really cool. It's interesting to me that the month of February is just like, it kind of just like came through for me. So I figured I'd just go for it. But Cara Daniels and I had a really great talk last week too. So if you didn't catch that one, you can go onto the Healing Home. You can find it on Spotify, you can find it on YouTube, and you can hear our chat as well. And I recommend her work too, and to check her out at deeprootconnections.com. She's another great animal communicator. And I also want to encourage people to reach out to Kathrine if you're wanting to have more in-depth readings, because, you know, as she said, what she shared tonight was just little tidbits, little tastes that she got. But yeah, I imagine that there's some pretty profound things that come through if you have a one-on-one with her, because I'm sure she can, obviously then she doesn't have like, you know, a whole audience listening or watching, and she could probably just really, really, really tap in. So anyway, check out all our links down below. And until next time, take care out there. And thank you so much for being with us. Cheers.